So here's what I had to say. First review, LaCroix sparkling water. Not very good. Lacks the sweet taste you would expect from a sparkling drink and has 0 grams of sugar. I give it 2 out of 10.
Oh my gosh.
Hello, and welcome to the Nerdiest podcast, the show where nerds talk about nerdy things. I'm your host, Nick Barrett, and as always, I'm joined without my co-host, Mr. Jackson Glass. He is supposed to be here, and he was here. Maybe he'll come back. I don't know. But on today's episode, we're going to be discussing underrated shows. We've done an episode on underrated movies, so we figured, you know what? Let's talk about some underrated shows that, we think, oh, there's Jackson. He's back with his Jurassic Park shirt on.
Hello.
It's just telling the listeners that we're talking about underrated shows today.
Yay.
So, yeah, as I said, we've done an episode on underrated movies, but we thought, let's do underrated shows because there's a lot of TV shows out there, and we want to just take some time to highlight a few that we think are underrated. But before we get into that, I want to take a second to say, if you enjoy what we're doing here and you love the podcast, feel free to give us 5 stars on every platform across the board. I'm actually going to look right now and see if we have any reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Yes. So go check
if you write a review
on Apple Podcasts.
We'll
read it on the show. Read it on the show. 5 stars on Spotify. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Come on.
On YouTube, you can subscribe. There's some people watching on YouTube. We got great original content coming. I mean, I know it's been just podcast episodes and YouTube shorts for now because we've been weekly, but it's coming.
It's coming.
Once we go back to bi-weekly, we're going to get some more content. So with that all out of the way, Jackson, how are you doing this week? I want to know.
I'm very good. I'm going to turn off this fan so you don't yell at me later today.
Yeah, I will.
It's been a pretty good
week.
week.
Your fan is loud.
All right. You know what? It's my number one fan, so you can't get mad.
Yes, I can.
So this week has been good. It's been really crazy. I feel like I've done a lot this week creatively, and so this week I did something that I never thought I would do, and I got into theater. And I've been doing a show here just at school. It's nothing insane. It's 10 minutes long. But it's been such a weird learning experience because on-camera acting is something that I've always been pretty good at. But now this is a whole nother world of this audience is right there. And you got to entertain them right there. They're right there. And so you have to be really loud and you can't do anything subtle because they can't see it. Or you can't punch in editing and be oh, look at this little detail. We're no, they can't see it in the back row. You can't be subtle. So it's just a super interesting learning experience. I've never done that before. And then we played a concert Tuesday. We played a poetry magazine release party, and that was really, really fun. Other than that, I feel like this week I decided I need to give myself a little bit of, I guess, permission to rest, if that makes sense. Of you don't have to constantly be on the grind or working on something. So yesterday I was all right, I have some stuff to do, but it's not pressing. I could get it done in the next few days. And so I sat down and I played Fortnite. I'll be honest, I played some Fortnite. And then I watched some Minecraft videos on YouTube. And then I made a sandwich. And it was this isn't half bad. I watched Whose Line Is It Anyway? That's a great show. So, that's what I'll say is let yourself relax. And I think I'm learning to do that more and more each day because you can't always be on the grind because even if you're married to the grind, you're going to have to get a divorce sometime. You know what I'm saying?
No.
No? All right, hold on. Let me try again. Even though you're married to the grind, you still need some personal space from your wife.
What are you advocating for here? I mean, I kind of see the vision of what you're talking about, but I'm a little confused.
Even though you're married to the grind, you still need some personal space from your spouse.
I think what you're trying to say is that even though you love the grind and you chose to spend the rest of your life with the grind, you do still need to take some personal time and focus on yourself.
Right.
Because
you can't love the grind.
You can't be your best self for the grind if you don't take personal time and work on yourself. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Exactly. Thank you for articulating that for me.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, pretty chill. Our last show is tonight, so it's been super fun. I don't know what else to say. That's all I've been doing. That's all my mental space has been taken up is by theater and music, and it's so good, and I want to take a nap. Nick,
I feel that.
How was your week?
Eye-opening and somewhat tiring.
Dang.
In a sense. I don't know if I mentioned it last episode, but I had talked to my counselor, and she informed me that I have a very poor work-life balance. Why are you cleaning your lens now?
Just keep talking. Just keep talking.
You should have already done.
Just keep talking. Anyway, no one would have known if you didn't bring it up.
What do you mean no one would have known?
Keep talking.
Anyway, yeah, my counselor informed me that I have a very poor work-life balance, and I'm pouring too much of myself into the two podcasts that I run, this one and Joystick Drift. This was later corroborated by people in chat, by like my family, by friends like Jackson. So I took this week to do a lot less creatively and kind of took a step back where I was like, okay, so like Monday and Tuesday I didn't do a ton, and I just kind of focused on watching, like catching up on some shows, playing some video games, and it's been a really nice, refreshing week. I also got up and went to the gym Wednesday and Friday because I'm going to try to go. I'm not going to try. I am going to go to the gym. It's all about the mindset. I'm going to go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday because I know Zelda's about to come out, and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to play that so much. I don't want to get fat and gross. So I need to have some form of physical activity that's outside of the house. And that is my go-to right now is going to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
You need to go on hot girl walks.
Okay, I would if the pollen wasn't so bad outside.
That's so
and
true.
I felt like I was going to die every time I stepped outside the door. Like,
guys, outside is scary. Don't go out there.
I take the golf cart because we have a gym at the front of our neighborhood. And I legit have to wear a mask so I don't get sick. Like, I wear a mask so that the pollen doesn't get all up in my face. It's very helpful.
Yeah.
It's great. It's very effective.
I've never
met... But I probably look like a weirdo.
Yeah. I've never met anyone with stronger allergies than you. It's
true.
Always I've known you for so long, and I've never met someone that has legitimate, like, it's not even like you're being weak. Like, you legitimately, like, have an awful pollen allergy.
I do.
And I just
it's
really
terrible.
love the image of you in a mask driving a golf cart. It's like when you see someone in their car wearing a mask, and you're like, dude, what? Who are you helping?
Maybe they don't have inside air on their car.
It's like, maybe it's also for, I don't know. I just think it's really funny.
I was told I need to get a custom mask that says seasonal allergies on the front. So people know, like, that's what it is. It's like, I'm not sick. I'm just protecting myself from the seasonal allergies. Anyway.
You got to get, like, a big gas mask. There's a guy... There's a guy at the grocery
Pull up, like, in a
store.
plague doctor mask?
Yeah, exactly. There's a guy at one of the grocery stores in town here where during COVID, he didn't wear, like, an actual mask. He wore, like, a full-on, like, gas mask.
I respect that. That probably did more for him than the little cloth mask would have.
We were all just like... Oh my gosh, like
He's insane, but
like,
he might actually be protecting
I'm like,
himself.
hold on, let him cook. But I'm also like, am I in a Fallout game? Like, what is this place?
So, aside from that, I went and saw Suzume last week, which if you listen to the episode, you know, I barely made it there on time.
Oof.
I was really worried, but I saw it, and without spoiling anything, it is my second favorite Makoto Shinkai film out of the 4 that I've seen. I liked it a lot better than Your Name, but it just didn't top Weathering with You, and I didn't think it was going to.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think there was any way. For me, Weathering with You was a very lightning in a bottle type thing, and I didn't think it was going to be that. And I also tried to go in without putting those expectations on it, because it's not a sequel to either of those movies. It's not a continuation of that story. It's its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to go in without the expectation of, how is this going to continue Weathering with You? How is this going to continue Your Name? So it was a very good movie. I really enjoyed it, and I want to go see it again, but dubbed, because I watched it subbed, and I want to go see it dubbed just to see how good the dub is, because the Weathering with You dub is really good.
It is really good.
And the Your Name dub isn't that bad.
I've only
unfortunately,
wait, did we watch the dub or the sub for Your Name?
For Your Name, we watched the dub.
Okay, that's what I thought. It was pretty good.
But we remember, because we watched the dub, and we turned on the subtitles.
Oh, right.
But the subtitles were different than the dub, because the subtitles were just the Japanese, direct translation, as opposed to actually dubbing it over, which is so
that's
weird.
Cool.
But unfortunately, the one downside with this movie, which may be corrected as I watch it more, is I wasn't in the movie. There was no character for me. There was one in Your Name, and there was one in Weathering with You, and there wasn't one in this movie unless I missed it in the background.
I really love that you are such. I don't want to say you look so standard, but apparently you look standard enough to be in anime movies. And I think that's so funny. This man really be guest me see.
Yeah, here's the thing. We have a really decent listenership in Japan on Anchor overall, but also on Apple Podcasts. Most of our listenership comes from Japan. So maybe Makoto Shinkai watched the podcast and was like, yo, that guy, I'm going to put him in the movie.
He's the one.
Even though the podcast technically didn't exist when he made Weathering with You. That movie predates this podcast.
You're there.
So yeah, Suzume was really good. I want to see it again. I'm definitely going to get it when it comes out on Blu-ray and stuff, but I might wait a little bit just to see if they do any kind of steelbook or collector's edition, because that's one of my bigger regrets with Weathering with You is I have the Blu-ray, but then they put out a steelbook collector's edition, which I do want to get. That's all this art and all these DVDs and all this stuff, and I want to get it. And if I do, maybe I'll unbox it for a video, because then I can write it off on my taxes. Anyway, no, it's true.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
So yeah, that's about all I've done. I haven't watched a ton of movies.
No, me neither.
Because I haven't had time. So we don't really have anything to update you guys on with the movie competition. We'd be moving the needle by one movie. I've officially crossed 50 now. Suzume was number 50. That's about it.
30, wait.
And Jackson's probably going to catch me because out of nowhere, Nintendo decided to drop the Xenoblade 3 story DLC, which I got to play that before Zelda comes out. So I'm not going to have time to watch any movies because that's going to be a 30, 40-hour experience that I have to finish in 2 weeks. And I'm like, no more time for movies, I guess.
I would like to call you out and say that I figured out your plan, and I've got you. Because I have not been able to watch any movies this week because any free time I have to watch TV, you've been making me watch Spy Family. I see your little game. You're trying to make me get behind on movies by making me watch Spy Family for the podcast.
Hold on. I'm going to debunk this immediately by saying you could have started and finished Spy Family after we did Sword Art Online in February.
No,
You've had 2 months. This is not my grand plan. Is it a little coincidental? Yes. This is not my grand plan, though. My grand plan was to get way further ahead, but then Nintendo said no.
No. Little update. Spy Family episode, we're recording a week from today, and I'm 3 episodes in. So
it's okay.
We will get there.
This is about where you were at with Sword Art Online.
No, you're right. And then we figured it out. And Demon Slayer, let me tell you, I watched I think 4 episodes a day for 3 days to finish that one in time.
Are you watching Spy Family subbed or dubbed?
So we watched 1 episode together subbed. And then after that, I switched to dub just because it was easier to watch if I was like eating dinner or something.
Yeah.
And so
that makes sense.
I was kind of like I really don't want to do dub, but if it's either dub or never watch it, I'll take dub.
Yeah. And like watching subbed while you do stuff is such an anime veteran type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can do that, but only because I've been watching subbed anime for 4 years.
Yeah.
Like you kind of pick it up and you learn how to read faster than the subtitles. So
maybe by this time next year.
And the Spy Family dub's not that bad.
No,
I've
it's
watched
really
it
not.
all dubbed because I watched it with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched it dubbed. And I watched it subbed when it was coming out because the dub wasn't out yet. But I mean, I've seen both. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad dub, which is why I'm like I'm not super up in arms about it.
Yeah, I think I prefer the voices of the sub, but I'm gonna cut my losses.
I think.
And just go
I
for the
think
dub.
sub voices are usually better.
Yeah,
but
because it's what they were intended to be. So
yeah.
All right. Well, we both have lists of underrated shows, and I'd like to
Bada
preface
bing,
by
bada boom.
saying, if you think, oh, that show is not underrated, okay, I didn't ask.
Get
This
over
is
it.
my opinion. So that was so mean. I'm sorry. I love you, but it's kind of like
No, it's kinda true.
even if you like it doesn't feel underrated, this is more what I'm taking this as is this is a really good show that I like, that when I try to talk about it, not a lot of people have seen it. That's more what I've thought. So maybe my circles are different than yours, and everyone loves this show, and like, how could that be underrated? This is more for like my opinion from who I know, who I've talked to. Like, these are some shows that I really like that those people have not seen, so, or deserve more credit than they're given. So there we go. I also would like to say a lot of these shows on this list, I could point out why they're not as high up, and I'll get into that, but I'll make a case for it. So would you like to start, or would you like me to start?
I can start because I already got my first one pulled up.
All right.
I promise this is the only show from 2023 on this list.
Gosh.
Is this the only anime on this list? Yes, actually.
Wow, I'm so proud of you.
I tried to not fill it because I could have totally filled it.
Oh
with
yeah,
anime.
I would have nothing
But
to say if
every time I've got an anime, I've done like this is an underrated anime. People comment and they're like, "This is not underrated," and I'm like, "Okay, well, considering the
Skill
fact I
issue.
don't see anybody on the internet talk about it, shut up."
Yeah.
Anyway, so my first show is one from 2023, and it's called "The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten." Okay. I know. Anime has some of the most sus titles in all of media. But, hear me out. This is genuinely, I think, might be one of the best romance anime, and if I make another video, it's going in there.
Okay.
Because the whole premise is this guy finds this girl sitting out on a swing set in the rain. And, him being a nice guy is like, "Here, take my umbrella so you don't get sick." And then he walks home, and she's like, "Oh, thanks." And then he finds out that they live next door to each other, as per the title, right?
Of course.
But then he gets sick because he walked home in the rain. Because apparently, and I don't know, I don't live in Japan, but as seems to be the norm, if you walk in the rain once, you immediately get sick and almost
you die. Yeah.
That's how it works in TV shows. So she comes over and she's like, "Well, here, I made some extra food because I made too much for myself, so have this extra food." And it turns into like, she comes over and is like, "Let me help you clean your apartment because it's a mess. Here, you don't know how to cook? Let me help you cook." And like, their relationship builds so gradually. Keep in mind, this is only a 12-episode anime. Their relationship builds throughout that 12 episodes, and by the time you get to the end, it's a satisfying conclusion that I don't feel like we need a season 2.
Oh.
I feel like everything from start to finish was very natural because it spans about the course of a year in 12 episodes, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not. I wish they were a little more open with how like the year went by, because like obviously you get your stereotypical Christmas episode, and then you have your shrine visits and all that stuff. But I do think it's generally one of the best romance anime because it does, like, obviously it's a little cheesy and a little like, oh, it's a rom-com, but then it does have those moments where it's, how do I want to put it? It gets deep.
Okay.
And it gets emotional, and it dives into the character stuff. So.
Wow. Okay. Good recommendation.
As far as I know, it's only on
seen it.
Crunchyroll, but
Who's to say?
it was good. So you should watch it. I know we're not going to get a season 2 ever.
The angel next
Not
door
'cause we need it.
spoils me rotten.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm thinking about putting it on the poll.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You know what?
I'm reworking the poll. I already have
If it's that good, then I'll consider it.
2 of them picked out. But
Okay.
you'll have to tune in next episode to find out.
Ooh, okay. All right, my first one on this list. Are you ready? Now, I know a lot of people know this show, but this is a show that I've seen every episode of twice. And so, at least twice. So, it's one of those shows that like you can just have on in the background, but if you really pay attention to it, you can it watches really well as a whole narrative, and I highly recommend it. And that show, hear me out, is Reba. Okay? Ready? Reba McEntire's iconic sitcom Reba has some of the funniest and sweetest characters you'll see. And I really like that the content is this middle ground of like, oh, it's not like for kids, but it's not like adult. And so it's a very good like casual watch where you're not like, oh, this is boring, there's like nothing interesting happening, because the whole point is like her teenage daughter gets pregnant and then has to marry like her high school sweetheart. And so she's now Reba, whose husband, who just got divorced, and her husband is remarrying, and they live across the street. And then while that's happening, her daughter and her 16-year-old daughter and her new husband are now living in her house, and she has to like manage all of them. It's so funny. Reba McEntire is an icon, and even if you've seen like a little bit of the show, I highly recommend sitting down and watching the whole thing because it's really heartwarming. I loved this show from when I was like 14 to now. It's just one of those like feel good shows that can still dig into some deeper stuff. Highly recommend. That's what I'll say.
Wow. I remember watching Reba with my grandmother when I was like 7.
It is like a granny show.
And all I can remember from it is just let it go, Barbara Jean.
Let it go, Barbara Jean.
That's
Barbara Jean.
We still say that now.
Barbara Jean is an icon. Let me tell you. I really love Reba.
Reba, that's crazy. I did not think that was going to be on your list.
There's a really good picture of me in a suit and a cowboy hat, and it's like one of those 0.5 pictures that's like really close to your face. And one of my friends put meme text on it that says "Reba needs me." I need to find that and post it because it's so funny.
Can you send me that so I can put it on the episode announcement?
Hold on. Let me find that. You continue, and I'll find that.
So I don't know if you've ever seen this show.
Okay.
I think you've heard of it because I know I've told you of it at least once. But if you've seen The Office and your favorite character from The Office was Aaron, then you're going to love this show. Mm-hmm. It's called Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yep.
It's I would count it as a sitcom. And the whole premise is what's the name of Aaron's voice? Ellie Kemper. That's
Ellie Kemper.
So she plays Kimmy Schmidt as per the title. You know, titles usually give stuff away.
Right.
But when she was like a teenager, like a kid, she got kidnapped by this, we'll call him a pedophile because that's kind of what he was.
Mm-hmm.
And he put these 4 girls in a doomsday bunker and like told them it was the end of the world. And she lives in this bunker for like 5 years or 10 years or something. And then her and these other 3 girls all get rescued out of the bunker. And the whole show is about her readjusting and getting reaccustomed to modern life in New York City. And it's actually really funny. I watched the whole thing with my mom. That was kind of like our show that we watched together. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I don't see enough people talk about it because it also has Jane Krakowski, who was in
She was in 30 Rock. Yeah.
I mean, she was in 30 Rock first, but I saw her in this first.
Right.
So to go back and watch 30 Rock was kind of funny.
She's good.
Yeah. I don't have much to say other than that, but it was a really great, really enjoyable show.
Yeah. My mom likes that show.
It's a Netflix exclusive, and I think it's one of the better Netflix exclusives.
Right. All right, little update. I found the Reba Needs Me picture.
Gosh, I love this so much.
It's not going to focus at all, but Reba Needs Me right there.
I'm really tempted to make this your contact photo on my phone.
My contact photo on your phone has been the same for like 2 years.
Oh, same. Yours is, if I can do this without like doxing your number, it's the one of you in the lemonade shirt sipping the yellow LaCroix.
Yeah, the LaCroix. Dude,
LaCroix.
I would kill for a LaCroix right now. That sounds so good.
Please don't. LaCroix is overrated.
Next episode, underrated drinks.
Overrated.
Underrated drinks. Let me tell you,
it's overrated. It's
overhated.
just water that tastes bad.
I love sparkling water so much.
There's a difference between sparkling water and LaCroix. LaCroix
there's
tastes
not.
like nothing.
What's the difference?
It just tastes bad. It's like
no.
It should have a little sugar in it. It has no sugar in it. That's the problem.
That's the point. Is there's no sugar.
That's so stupid.
Although
I guess if you add sugar, it's just soda.
No, literally, that's the point. Is it's supposed to be a not soda.
But it doesn't taste like anything. That's
it's
what I'm
not
saying. It's like you hand me a lemon flavored LaCroix. It doesn't taste like lemon. It just tastes like water.
No, because it's water.
But if I put lemon in my water, it would taste more like lemon than a lemon LaCroix.
No, it's limoncello. It's like a lemon vanilla.
It's limoncello.
It's like a lemon vanilla. I drink
whatever. It's still overrated.
I drink plain sparkling water. Okay. I will go to Kroger and you can get a 2-liter of plain sparkling water for like 99 cents. And it's so good. It's so like refreshing. And it curbs any desire I have for soda without drinking a soda.
Allow me to get really off topic for like 2 seconds.
Okay.
So on June 16th, 2018.
What?
just follow me here. Just follow me here. June 16th, 2018. I decided to start a review Instagram account. I will not share the username because I don't want people to go find it because these reviews are kind of dumb.
I remember
and I don't have I have the login, but I don't have it on my hand, so I can't like go private the account. But I'm going to read you the caption. I reviewed a bottle of LaCroix. Okay? This is relevant. So here's what I had to say. First review, LaCroix sparkling water. Not very good. Lacks the sweet taste you would expect from a sparkling drink and has 0 grams of sugar. I give it 2 out of 10.
Oh my gosh. That's so
funny.
For
reference, I also reviewed Sour Patch Kids. And it was like the Sour Patch Bunnies, and I said, Sour Patch Bunnies, only thing I can say is that there's no blue ones, which unfortunately means this candy loses 8 points, giving it a solid 2 out of 10.
You lost 8 points for not having blue candy?
Yes, because that's the best flavor, is usually always blue.
I completely forgot you did that. I remember that.
And last one I'll bring up. I also reviewed orange vanilla Coca-Cola. And I said, this drink is mediocre. I couldn't really taste the orange or vanilla flavors. I just mainly tasted the Coca-Cola flavor. It didn't taste bad. It just didn't taste good. My rating, 4 out of 10.
Okay, so it's better than the LaCroix.
So I'd drink an orange vanilla Coke over a LaCroix any day.
No, you see, the argument of it doesn't have sugar is so dumb because that's the point.
Can we?
It's supposed to have a sugar.
Okay, hear me out.
Okay, I'm hearing.
And
you out.
we'll get back on topic here.
Yeah.
Can we make our shirts that say "I wear white after Labor Day," and then film an ad spot for those shirts? But it's us specifically wearing the shirt, like me wearing that shirt with sunglasses, slow motion pouring out a LaCroix.
Yes.
It came to me just now, and I was like, yes.
No, here's what you do. Wearing a white shirt that says "I wear white after Labor Day," and then there's like money on it or something. Because if you remember a long time ago back, the history of wearing white after Labor Day was like, if you had enough money, if you
to go on
didn't
vacation
have enough money
after the summer.
Yes, if you didn't,
I think
if you had enough money to go on vacation after summer, you could wear white after Labor Day. So we want to do shirts that say, "I wear white after Labor Day," and have money, and it's you pouring out a LaCroix, but then it zooms out, and I'm on the ground, and you're pouring it into my mouth.
this is going to be a golden ad spot.
All right,
Look forward to a Nerdiest podcast merch coming soon.
Yes, very soon. So
anyway, back on
my
topic.
next show.
Nice little side tangent.
My next show for underrated shows, and I know I can point out why this is underrated, so let me get there. I'm going to say The Goldbergs is pretty underrated. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
You would love The Goldbergs. So
That's what I've been told.
Adam Goldberg created the show. It's a show about his life. And it's just like this nerdy kid in the 80s, and he loves movies, and his family is crazy. Essentially, that's the plot.
Oh,
and I think The Goldbergs, what it did was really smart, because it was like, it had so much heart because it was real. And so at the end of every episode, he would show his home movies of what the episode was based on. So every episode is based on a different home movie he has. And so they play the home movie at the end. And it's really good. The language is pretty bad. It's not bad language, it's just consistent language. And
Right.
so that's pretty much it. But as an amazing cast, Jeff Garlin is in it, and he's hilarious. And I think they're still going. But here's what I will say. I think I've seen 5 seasons of The Goldbergs. And after season 4, it tanks really hard. And I think that they should have ended after 4th season. And I haven't been keeping up. I think they're on like season 8 now. And I'm going to verify that here in a second while you're talking. But it's gotten to the point where they're starting to kill off characters. And so like
is this General Hospital?
yeah, I don't know. It's bad. Like, I don't think Jeff Garlin is on it anymore for like different disputes with the actor, and like, so I feel like, and I could tell he ran out of home movies and started like really reaching for these like stories, and I was like,
that's a cool concept, but it does sound like something that is absolutely finite,
right.
and going into it how far you can go.
Yeah.
Because if you only have 20 home movies, okay, you only got 20 episodes.
Right. So I think that the first 4 seasons of The Goldbergs are phenomenal. I think they're hilarious. They do really good movie spoofs, kind of like Community. Highly recommend. If you're like a film bro, like, go watch it. It's really funny and relatable. But yeah, The Goldbergs, even though it tanks like midway through, so.
Wow. Very cool. Well, my next show, what do I want to pick?
Let me update. They're on season 10 of The Goldbergs, which...
they're about to do like season 17 of Ninjago.
Lord have mercy.
Actually, no, I take that back. They did season 16, and they're apparently rebooting it and starting over with a new cast.
What?
But they're going to continue to use the Ninjago name. And I'm like, okay, let it go.
What's
let
the
it go.
point?
Let it go.
Let it go.
The people who grew up watching Ninjago aren't watching it anymore. So let it go.
Dude.
Move on.
This is weird.
But it's like their highest grossing original IP, so they're not going to let it
yeah.
go. Lego has tried so many times to start another thing. Like, oh, here's a freebie underrated show, Nexo Nights.
Oh yeah.
I remember watching that.
That's a good
it
show.
Wasn't great.
That's a good show.
But it was like it was enjoyable. But Lego has tried multiple times to really get something to stick, and they haven't. The closest they've come to it is the new Monkey Kid line, and like the show that goes with that. But it's not at Ninjago levels yet, so they're like not ready to let go of Ninjago. So that was a freebie, I guess. Another one. I have a varied list here. I'm gonna go with Scissor 7. I've brought this up. So this is an anime.
Oh, you told me to watch
mark?
this. Yeah.
Yeah, I told you to watch it because I think you would enjoy it. It's not an anime because it falls in that weird gray area because it's an anime, but it's not produced in Japan.
It's like a Netflix show.
Hold on,
It's a Netflix. It says a Netflix original anime series.
It's produced in China.
Okay.
So it's a Chinese anime. So yeah. But it's very good. The comedy is hilarious. There's a lot of physical comedy, and the whole premise is, I'll just read the synopsis off of Serialized. Seeking to recover his memory, a scissor-wielding, hairdressing, bungling quasi-assassin stumbles into a struggle for power among feuding factions.
Ooh.
It's so good.
Okay.
It has, I love anime, but this has some really good action scenes. And the animation goes over the top sometimes, and it's very enjoyable. It is a Netflix original. Season 4 is coming soon. I know it's airing not on Netflix right now, so I don't know when it's coming to Netflix. But it is definitely worth a watch. It's really short. It's not like season 1 is what? 10 episodes? I think they're all 10 episodes. So like right now it's only 30. So
all right.
And the plot's there. So that's mine.
Interesting.
Scissor 7. She'll watch it. I'll get Jackson to watch it one day, maybe.
Yeah. You told me to watch that a while ago, and I thought it looked good. All right. So, my next underrated show, you're going to hate me. I really think 30 Rock deserves some more credit than it gets. And you disagree, and I know that. But 30 Rock is so funny. It's so funny because all of the characters are horrible. They're horrible people. But it's so funny. And Tina Fey and Alec Baldwin and Tracy Morgan and it's just so funny. I don't know why you hate 30 Rock so much, but 30
I don't
Rock
hate it. I just
30 Rock got me and my mom through a tough time. We watched that together. There are some episodes of 30 Rock I really don't like because 30 Rock really goes off of shock comedy. And so there are some episodes that I think just go too far, and I'm not a fan of that. But overall, I think 30 Rock is just hilarious. I really do. And as a creator, I think it's funny to watch shows about creators.
I mean, yeah. Okay, listen. I didn't hate it. It just wasn't my favorite. I don't think it's everything you say it's cracked up to be.
But it's so funny.
That was my thing. Is you think it's like a 8 to 9 out of 10, and I'm out here maybe it's more like a 6 out of 10.
I think it's 7 or 8 out of 10.
I would recommend. I'm not going to tell people not to watch it.
Yeah.
Especially because we do seem to be, and this might be controversial, we're kind of in a drought for good sitcoms at the moment, at least as far as I've seen. So, because all the sitcoms nowadays are the same.
Yeah.
They're just not good.
No.
They're not. They don't capture the same magic as shows like The Office or Community or Parks and Rec. But that's also because we've entered a different era of comedy.
Yeah.
And it's a lot harder to do comedy now.
It's hard to make a good sitcom because you're extremely limited in what you can say, and I think NBC is like throwing a lot of shows at the wall, and I'm trying, like, I feel like because of streaming and we can just watch, why would I try the new show when I could just watch The Office? Like, it's
Right.
Well, like, I'm wondering what the next big show will be, and it's, I don't know.
We need to make the next big show.
We are
Let's
the next
do it.
big show. All right, go ahead.
My next big show. What do I want to pick? What did I just do? I just did an animated one.
Yeah.
All right, I'll throw a live action one in there. I think we might both have this one on our list.
Okay.
And as avid listeners of the show know,
Mm-hmm.
I will forever sing the praises of a man named Bo Burnham.
Yes.
And I gotta tell you,
that's not on my list.
One of the best sitcoms I've seen. Would you consider this a sitcom?
Yeah.
Because I threw it because it's like an Office style. Even though it's like more of a mockumentary, it's still, I counted it as a sitcom. What we're talking about, Zach Stone is going to be famous. It is literally, 13 episodes? And that's it? 12. It's 12 episodes, and the whole premise is Bo Burnham's character, Zach Stone, wants to be famous. So he spends like his life savings on a camera crew to follow him around and record him and document him becoming famous. Like, it's a very, like, I lived in the time frame of when The Office was on TV, and that was cool, so I want to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great because in the same vein as 30 Rock, Zach is kind of just a terrible person.
Yeah, he kind of sucks.
Like, he's very self-centered, very narcissistic, like, which is all reinforced by the fact that he has a film crew following him around.
But you want him to win.
Right, like, you want him to become famous, but at the same time, you're like, you don't deserve this. Like,
Yeah.
you are a terrible person.
Yeah.
And, well, I guess I can't, I don't want to say that because
you
it's at
can't
the
spoil it.
very end. But, like, the very end, like, the last few minutes of the show really drive that, like, narcissistic, egotistical point home.
Ooh.
And I just had so much fun watching it because it's that Bo Burnham style of comedy. So it's very, like, out there and kind of weird and quirky. And I think it's still on Netflix. I saw it
think
got
it
taken
is.
off for a while. But then I re-added it, and I'm like, okay. I don't know why you wouldn't keep it, but I highly recommend watching it. It's only 12 episodes. They're like your standard 22-minute episode.
It ran on MTV and then got cut after the first season.
Such a weird place.
Like,
Such a weird place.
I don't know. MTV got into that weird spot of like, what if we just aired ridiculousness for 12 hours a day? So, I don't know.
I also feel like this show doesn't need a season 2. You've watched it
No.
all the way through, right?
No. I got halfway through.
No,
and then
you need to finish it right now.
need to
We're going
finish
to
it.
pause the podcast.
All right, guys.
We'll come back after Jackson finishes Zach Stone.
Oh, all right. I'm going to do 2 because I've talked about one of these, like, to death, even in the last episode. So I'm not going to go super in deep. Boy Meets World.
Oh,
Let
here we go
me
again.
tell you, I've seen every episode twice, at least
This
twice.
Is the 3rd episode in a row.
Have you seen
talking
it?
about Boy
Why
Meets
won't you
World.
watch it? Because it's
Why won't
that
you watch
good.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I didn't say I wouldn't.
I didn't say I wouldn't watch Boy Meets World.
Then go watch it.
I'm watching
I'm
Wizards
just-
of Waverly Place. You got me on one show.
Fine. So, Boy Meets World, I can't sing the praises enough. It's just, it has everything. So, I've already talked it to death, so I'm not going to go into there again. Next show, I'm going to do 2 at a time from now. I'm going to say Malcolm in the Middle deserves some respect. Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad plays the sweetest, goofiest dad in the world, and he's so cool. He's so funny. He's my favorite character. And the show, I'd say it's more of a teen show. It's not like adult, but it's definitely not for the children. It ran on Fox, I think, and it's just one of those just sitcoms that you watch and then you feel better about your own family. And so I think Malcolm in the Middle really achieved the the single camera sitcom early on in a creative way of like Malcolm is the narrator and he's brilliant, but his family is like, he's the only smart one in their family. And so it's just one of those really funny shows that has just amazing characters and amazing character development. And I really like watching that from beginning to end. You kind of like watch them all grow up and learn, and that's a funny show. And I forget how funny that show is, but highly recommend watching Malcolm in the Middle. My favorite Bryan Cranston performance. Boom.
Alrighty then. Have you, while I'm pulling up my next one, have you seen How I Met Your Mother? It's worth watching until like the last season, because the last season was really bad.
You've told me to watch it multiple times, but it's so
Everything
long.
else about it is great. It's hilarious.
It's so long, so I've been kind of scared to get committed.
Understandable. Here, I'll make you this deal right now. I texted you about it yesterday.
Oh gosh. Oh yes.
I'll watch Boy Meets World if you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's hilarious, and I think you would really enjoy it.
Ayo. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. All right, I'm in.
Epic.
I'm in.
I gotta finish Wizards of Waverly Place first.
That's a good show.
How many do you have left?
4.
I also have 4.
Do you want to do 2 at a time?
Actually, I technically have 5, but I mean, I know. Do you have Community on your list?
No, I took it off for Reba because I feel like that was the most. I feel like Community was one that I was like, it feels underrated because it's really, really good and doesn't get the credit it deserves. But I know a lot of people that have seen it.
No, that's true. Like,
So
I put it on there so we can talk about it really quick.
Yeah.
And then I'll do another one. Community is great. Go watch it on Netflix. I'm gonna rewatch it again at some point this year because it's hilarious. It's great. I love it. That's another one we've kind of talked to death.
Yeah.
Because it was in our movies and shows that impacted us.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do another one. Another one I kind of talked about it last episode. Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, a.k.a. Tangled the Series.
Mm-hmm.
They changed the title halfway through for some reason.
Amy
I don't
loves
know why.
that show. She loves that show.
It's so good. Like, if you loved Tangled and you want more Tangled, watch Tangled the Series. Whoa!
Whoa!
It does a lot. And what's funny is if you've seen Tangled and you've seen the short where Rapunzel and Flynn get married, the entire show takes place between those two things.
Whoa.
Like, it takes place between the end of Tangled and the beginning of that thing. Because, like, in the first few episodes, Flynn proposes to Rapunzel, and she's like, oh, I'm not ready yet. I need you to wait for me. And he's like, okay, cool. And then they kind of bring it full circle by the end. But, one, it does a lot to flesh out their relationship a lot more, which is why I'll always say they're better than Anna and Kristoff, because at least we got to see their relationship build up. Everything with Anna and Kristoff happened in between movies.
All right.
Anyway, they do a lot to build up that relationship. The music is on par, if not better than the movie.
Whoa.
Because I'm pretty sure they brought all the same people back.
Yeah.
Like, all the important creative people who worked on Tangled, I'm pretty sure also worked on the series, which is why it feels like so connected to the other things, is because they brought all the creative people back. What else? They did a lot of really neat world building with the magic system without feeling like we had to break the rules that were already pre-established. Like, obviously we know there's the sun drop flower that gives the healing. Okay, well, what if there was a moon drop flower that does the opposite? It's all like pretty self-explanatory and doesn't feel like, okay, we need to go retcon the movie. To then, the only like big retcon they had was giving Rapunzel her long hair back, but even then, that was explained in kind of a loose way that made sense, and I was okay with it. So, it's on Disney Plus. Very good. Please go watch it, because hopefully, you know, I mean, they're doing a Tiana show at some point, so I hope they do more of these like shows that flesh out characters.
Yes.
That are actually good and aren't just cash grabs.
Yeah.
So Disney, do more of that, please.
Oof.
Not like the stupid Lilo and Stitch live action.
Okay, you know what?
Making. I can't even stand that movie, and we
crap.
haven't even they haven't even filmed it yet.
Yeah.
And I'm already done with it.
Yeah. All right. Do you have four or three left?
Now I have 3 left.
3. All right. My next one. All right. And I'm going to explain a little bit of my philosophy behind this show. I think Arrested Development deserves some credit. So,
Really? Okay.
I do. And here's what I'll say. Arrested Development, in my opinion, tanks harder than any show I've ever seen after season 2.
So true.
I think Arrested Development season 1 is one of the best just individual seasons of television I've seen. It sets up this beautifully hilarious world with these absurd characters in the first season, and it's legitimately hilarious. And Michael Cera, as always, is an icon. Jason Bateman is phenomenal, and David Cross as Tobias is my absolute favorite. He's so funny, and that's hilarious. So the first season sets that all up and goes, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Second season really digs deeper into that, and we're like, all right, this is where you get more recurring jokes and inside jokes and niche. The second season was this is for Arrested Development fans. And I really love how meta Arrested Development is. Ron Howard is the narrator for Arrested Development, which is insane. Pretty sure the Russo brothers directed a couple episodes for them. And it's just insane. And then after the second season, the story non-existent anymore. It's
Because doesn't it just repeat after that?
Pretty much, yeah. It's just the same thing over and over and over again, but less funny. And so my recommendation to you is watch season 1 and 2 of Arrested Development. And then after that, because people are like, all right, but season 3 is good. It was good until Netflix made it. I argue that even season 3 is bad. I don't even like season 3. And when Netflix made it, it's even worse. How do you, they ruined that show. And so after season 2, stop. But those first 2 seasons, tears in my eyes funny. That's what I will say.
Alrighty. Did you mention Will Arnett as Job?
I have not.
That's another golden
That's another golden performance. Yes.
He did great.
My favorite line from that show. Okay, there's so many good lines from that show. I really love when when Tobias is talking to Michael and he's like, well, thanks for the advice, Michael, but last I checked, your wife is dead. And it's just so inappropriate.
I can hear it in the Will Arnett voice too. The way he delivered that line. It was so serious, it wasn't a joke to him.
Yeah.
He was completely serious.
I really love Tobias as a Blue Man Group understudy, where he's like, Tobias, are you blue? Only on the outside, Michael. And it's just it's so good. My personal favorite of all of them, though, is there's always money in the banana stand, and then they burn down the banana stand, and the wall is lined with $250,000 that they burned to the ground, and it's so good. Go watch the first 2 seasons.
It was good. I agree. The first 2 seasons were good. Everything else is skippable. Because it did start to repeat itself. Because it was the dad's in jail again for the same thing.
Yeah.
But different. And now we got to get him out. And then it never goes anywhere. I didn't even finish the last seasons. Because I was like, no.
And then it gets doesn't it get weirdly incestual after a while?
Yes.
And it's just
because Michael Cera tries to find a loophole to date his cousin. And I'm like, really? That's the direction you wanted to go?
Here's the thing. That was funny in the first season. That was funny in the first season.
When it was played for a joke, it was funny. But then when you try to make it serious, it's okay.
Oh, he was serious.
It was
gross.
funny before, but now it's not.
Yeah, it's just so inappropriate.
So, no. Enough. How do you want to do this? Because you have 1 left.
I have...
And I have 3.
Here's the thing. No, I have 3 left.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. So you do 2, and then I'll do 2, and then we'll hit
And
our
then we
last
can do our
ones.
last one.
Yeah.
Ooh, what do I want to be my last show?
I know what I want as my last one. Because I think my last one is one that I think is criminally underrated.
Criminally underrated. Out of these 3, what do I think is... Oh, man, they're all criminally underrated. All right, I'll go with the one I love the most. I'll save that one for last. All right, 2 more. One is... All right, have you guys ever heard of this guy? His name is Guillermo del Toro. I probably pronounced that wrong. You ever heard of him?
I've heard of him.
Made Pinocchio on Netflix last year, which I'm pretty sure won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature.
Maybe.
I think. But if you ever heard of that guy and you love that guy, then I highly encourage you to check out the animated show on Netflix, Troll Hunters: Tales of Arcadia. It's so... No, don't look at me like that. Genuinely, fire... What's the phrase? Fire beyond water? Fire behind water? However you put that phrase. It's actually really good. I really love the world building, and I feel like it's the most recent show I've seen that captures that Saturday morning cartoon energy.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it tried to be, was just a Saturday morning cartoon, even though it was like a Netflix original.
Right.
And Netflix, you really screwed us on distribution. It took like 8 years to get this stuff. Not really, but the world building was there. The lore was just so deep, so amazing. So good. And it actually, what's so great about this show is it spun off into 2 other shows that then all 3 shows got back together to do a finale movie. Now, I've only seen Troll Hunters. I haven't seen the other shows. I want to watch them, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
Okay.
So, however he struck that lightning in a bottle with this show, it's fantastic. So go watch it. It's criminally...
I've heard of that show. I didn't know Guillermo del Toro did it.
I think it's
Guillermo? I don't know. I'm sorry. Guillermo. I didn't know he did that. I didn't know he did it.
Guillermo. This is rough. This is rough.
I'm white.
I'm white. I'm not. And I still can't pronounce it. So yeah, very good show. Very good characters. Also,
wow.
Mark Hamill is in this show at one point. I can't tell you when.
Dang.
So is Kelsey Grammer, which, by the way, I went and saw Jesus Revolution, and I was listening to Kelsey Grammer talk in that movie, and I'm like, where have I heard that voice before? And I went home and I IMDb'd Kelsey Grammer, and it was Troll Hunters. And I was like, oh, now I remember where I've heard him from.
Not Frasier or anything. No, just Troll Hunters.
So the next show I'm going to talk about is another animated one, another Netflix original. If you've ever seen the show Avatar: The Last Airbender, and you really loved Avatar: The Last Airbender, then you will like what I will call its spiritual successor in The Dragon Prince, because it is made by some of the same people who made Avatar, but I'm going to give you the caveat and say watch the first 3 seasons. There's currently 4 out with a 5th on the way this summer, and the first 3 seasons are just so incredibly well put together. The cast is amazing. The way they set up that journey and executed it across the 3 seasons is amazing. The animation looks phenomenal. I would honestly love to make an animated show in this style, just because how it is 3D, but it looks somewhat 2D, and like they found that nice medium. And I know they talked about in an interview somewhere, they intentionally slowed down the frame rate, and that's part of why it took so long between seasons 1 and 2, is because they were really trying to figure out the perfect balance. But I watched season 4, and it just wasn't as good, because, spoiler alert, why I think the first 3 seasons work well together is because it tells a complete story in those first 3 seasons. Everything after that is using the same characters and telling another story, but the other story feels very similar to the first one, kind of like Arrested Development, where it's like they knew what they wanted to do, but it just feels like they're doing it again. In like there's a time skip of like 3 years, so everyone's a little older.
Yeah.
And it's just not as good.
That's hard.
So hopefully season 5 will be better, and maybe like season 4 was just like a rough start. But yeah, The Dragon Prince, first 3 seasons, highly recommend.
Who are you gonna do a Dragon Prince episode with?
Hannah.
Oh yes.
And then I was gonna do a Ruby episode with Hannah too, and then we never got around to it.
Well, we tried to do the Doctor Strange episode with her, and her audio corrupted.
Yep.
And so
thanks, Apple.
Thanks for nothing, Steve.
We could be 1 episode closer to 100, but
all right.
No.
You ready?
Yep.
So I got 2 more before my criminally underrated show. All right. Another show that I think is not talked about enough because it's really funny and it's really creative and it's really sweet. I really like sweet shows. The show's really sweet, and you can just turn it on a Sunday afternoon, and it's very relaxing, and it's sweet. And I'm going to say The Middle. It's on HBO Max, and it has Patricia Heaton, who is the wife she's Deborah from Everybody Loves Raymond, and she's an icon. And it has the, I don't know his name, the janitor from Scrubs, if you know him. He's the dad, and she's the mom. And it's just one of those shows that, like, I couldn't tell you what it's about because it's not really, like, a groundbreaking, amazing story. It's just a sweet show about a family in, like, the heart of America. The whole point is they live in, like, what's the word? The Midwest. They live in the
middle?
Yeah, the middle. They just live in the Midwest, in a small town where nothing goes on, but everyone there is like really kooky, and it's like really funny and sweet, and their kids are funny, and it's just one of those sweet. And I really like Patricia Heaton's narration in The Middle, because at the end of every episode, she like wraps it up in like a really sweet mom way of like, "Oh, this is so sweet. Like, I love this show. This little family, I love it." So I'm going to say The Middle is underrated. Another underrated show that I watched growing up, actually, is Everybody Hates Chris. Now, this is the show that Chris Rock made based on his childhood. And it has Terry Crews in it. And Terry Crews is the dad. And then, oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. I don't know
Is Chris Rock is the guy who got slapped by Will Smith last year, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure we're thinking of the same person.
Yes. So it has Chris Rock as the narrator, and then Terry Crews is the dad, and then Tyler James Williams is he plays Chris. And if you remember, Tyler James Williams' younger brother was Leo from Lab Rats. So, and Tyler James Williams was in like Let It Shine on Disney Channel, or I'm trying to think of things you've seen with him in it. And
I haven't seen it.
So, and his friend is Vincent Martella. I don't know how to say it, but he plays Phineas from Phineas and Ferb.
Oh.
So it's a really funny show with an all-star cast. It's one of those, like, I feel like I wasn't the target audience, but still loved it. And it's just really funny. And it was one of those, like, comedies that just was true to itself. And it was like, no, this is it. Like, this is us. And it's just so sweet, so cute, so funny. Cute's not the right word, but it's really sweet, but it's also really funny. And so I think my favorite bit from that show is, like, their brother gets hit by a car and the mom, like, runs upstairs to go get Tylenol because she just, like, believes that Tylenol fixes everything, which is so funny. So highly recommend. That's a good show. And that was the two. The Middle and Everybody Hates Chris. So, to recap.
Right. I added it to my watch list.
Yes, good show. I think it used to be on Hulu. It might not be anymore.
It Serialized says it's on Hulu, so I'll take its word for it.
All right. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. Because I guess it's my turn.
Criminally underrated.
criminally underrated, and I may be wrong,
All right.
but you know what? I'll die on the hill.
All right.
So, if you've ever watched a Michael Bay movie, you'll know Michael Bay directs a lot of movies, right? And when you think of Michael Bay, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Explosions. Where do we get explosions from? Machines. What are machines? Could be referred to as Transformers. So, my criminally underrated show. I love the emotional roller coaster I just took you on by starting with Michael Bay.
I hate you so much.
I don't know if Michael Bay's ever touched a TV show. I don't know. I'll look it up while you're giving yours. But my criminally underrated show is Transformers Prime.
Oh my god.
I will die on the hill. This, aside from like the original Transformers stuff, like the shows, this is the best piece of Transformers media ever created. It trumps all the Michael Bay films, which isn't very difficult. It trumps Bumblebee, and it'll probably trump Rise of the Beast that comes out in like 2 months. Just, oh man, I watched this show as a kid. This is what I wanted Transformers to be. The humans didn't feel like they were shoehorned in. They felt like they were actually a part of the plot, which is one of my biggest issues with these whole like alien creature on Earth type thing. Is the humans feel forced, like in Sonic 2, where like, oh, why are the humans here? This should just be a Sonic story. Or like in the Transformers movies, why are there people here? This should just be a Transformers movie. And it's like, this had that balance and made everything work. And also, listen. The villains were actually kind of cool. But like, it accurately recaptured what I remembered of Transformers before this, where like Starscream, he is a suck up, but also kind of wants to be Megatron, but like he wants to be the head honcho, but then he's also like a suck up so that he doesn't, die. And Optimus Prime was cool as always. So this is my show. I've only seen the first 2 seasons. I don't know what this Beast Hunter stuff is. It was not as good. But also, if you've seen it, what happens with Bumblebee at the end, I cried as a kid.
Dang.
If you know, you know. If you don't, watch the show and find out.
So, Michael Bay has touched some TV. He was executive producer for Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan with John Krasinski.
Okay.
He did the Purge TV series, because he did the movies. He did The Last Ship, which I've never seen. He was executive producer for Black Sails. So nothing that we would have seen. But I'm going to throw in a freebie, free underrated movie, The Island, produced by Michael Bay. That movie is so dumb. It's one of those like dumb science fiction movies. It has Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson. So good. So good. The Island. Go watch it. All right.
End this out.
Transformers. Really?
Yes.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. I respect that.
What were you expecting from me? Like
that.
another anime?
I don't know. It was... I was really
I can't say
scared.
the Clone Wars. That doesn't count.
I was really scared you'd be like, My Hero Academia.
That's not underrated. It's overhated.
All right.
If we ever do an episode on overhated shows, allow me to pull out my list of 10 anime I think are overhated.
All right.
Or overrated. I got lists for everything.
You ready?
All right, end us out.
Criminally underrated show. I was watching this yesterday, all right?
Ooh.
Whose Line Is It Anyway? You can watch it on HBO Max. Highly recommend. Whose Line Is It Anyway? It's not narrative. It's not a story. It's not a drama. It's solely just Drew Carey doing improv games with Wayne Brady, Ryan Stiles, Colin Mockery, and a special guest every episode of rotating people. And it is just the highest level of improv that you will ever watch. It hits hard. It's so much fun. It is one of those only shows that I will watch and will laugh out loud every time. It's improv, and so nothing is planned. They just have their games planned, but it is just the highest level of improv you will ever watch. And so it is so funny every single time. I don't know how they do it, but so many people I know have just never seen it. And it's so funny. It's one of the only shows that I will laugh out loud every time. Like, I don't know. It's one of those shows that I just get so sucked into, and I can watch like 10 episodes in a row just because it's such a good time. Highly recommend. They do like improv entire songs on the spot. Like, it's amazing. Wow. They're so talented. The old versions with Drew Carey are better, but they rebooted it with Aisha Tyler as the host, and it's still good because it's the same performers, just a different host. The reboot is still good, but the originals from like the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, so funny. So funny. Highly recommend. If you really want some niche 90s political humor, that's what you got to watch, because it's so good. I cannot sing the praises enough. Highly recommend. Go watch Who's Line.
Which show is it? The one from 98 or 2013?
98 is the original. Sorry, it's not 80s. It's 90s and 2000s. But 98 is my personal favorite. But the 2013 one is not bad because it was rebooted later.
Okay. I think I found it.
Yeah. Put that on your list. If you just need like a casual
8
watch.
seasons. Ooh, wow.
Yeah. If you just need a casual watch or something to chill out and like watch before bed, highly recommend. Because it's just funny. You don't have to use your brain. It's just funny.
Right.
So there you go. Those are our underrated shows for this episode. That went way better than I expected. I'll be completely honest. I thought this was going to be boring.
I think our little side tangent about LaCroix was great.
That was great. This is a good episode. I'm happy we did this. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of the Nerdiest Podcast. Unless you have anything else to say, I'm good to go. Please follow us on Instagram and YouTube at the Nerdiest Podcast. We're doing amazing original content there. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram, give 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you leave a review on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show, and it'll be really fun. We have some amazing...
We didn't have any, by the way. That's why I didn't read
cool.
any.
We have some really good episodes in the docket. Next week, we're going to be talking about Spy Family. My first time watching it. It's going to be really, really good. Our 100th episode special is coming up really quick, so we're working on getting some stuff ready for that. It's going to be so fun. Keep an eye on the Instagram. We're going to be sending updates there. And until then, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Yep.